Today I want to talk about some bucket list ideas for filmmakers and how you can get to the next level of filmmaking. And trust me, if you can do everything on this list, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, you're going to be a completely different filmmaker. You're going to be at such a high level compared to everyone else around you. Number one, I think this is a simple one, making a romance short film. Why do I say this? Because I think this is a very fun, not a lot of resources needed kind of project, right? And I think it's a universal story that conveys a lot of emotions, and it teaches you a lot of things about the basic principles of narrative filmmaking, having this drama. I think this improves your storytelling abilities and it improves your directing abilities as well, which are, some of the most important skills to have as a director. Next thing I want to talk about is making a horror short film. This is kind of the polar opposite of the romance, maybe not, but it's also such a fun little thing you can do. It's contained, you don't need a lot of people, you don't need a lot of locations. You can just literally do it in a room, right? And you can explore a lot of, your crazy ideas. You can focus on improving the pacing of storytelling, of editing, of the acting. I think that's super important to deliver these horror elements. Also, I think the cinematography could be something you play around with, the shadows and everything. I think this could be also a really fun thing you can do. Next up, I think making a short documentary. Why? Because I think it makes you tell a meaningful story. I think this is essentially why we make movies, right? We want to tell meaningful stories to other people, to ourselves, so I think documentaries is a good way to explore that, and it's also a good way to explore another medium in this filmmaking journey. A lot of people just make narrative, but also I think documentary could give you a lot of insight in other people's lives. It makes you dig deeper on just basically our society and humans. What I think this improves is also a lot of editing, because editing in a documentary, it's kind of painful, but once you get over that hump, I think it teaches you a lot about how to tell a story visually and keep people engaged, even though it's just, documentaries, people consider it to be boring, but you can make it super interesting, and it proves a lot of storytelling abilities. Next thing, I think making a stop motion short films. I mean, how can you not do this? This is one of the most fun things, and this is how a lot of people get started on their filmmaking journeys. Why? Because it's so easy to do. You can do it only by yourself. You can just sit in your room, create a beautiful set and just click the shutter. You can do it with Legos, you can make clay, puppets, all that, but I think it's just so fun. I've been doing it for years. Before I took filmmaking more seriously, I was always just making stuff with my Legos, and I think this improves a lot of your discipline and grit. I think this teaches you to basically stay in there when you're making a project and you're doing a stop motion. It takes so long, so much patience, but it's really worth it. Also, it teaches you a lot about framing, the cinematography. You're so intentional with every single frame of your film, right? Also, set design, right? You're basically building everything from scratch, and you're really thinking about all aspects of the whole film. And then the editing as well, you're mixing everything, you're creating everything from scratch. So I think this makes you a more intentional of a filmmaker. Another thing is to act in a movie. I think you just don't need to worry about any of the logistics and technical things. You can just go on set and play, right? I guess you have to memorize some lines, but this is going to be a really important thing to be able to do as a filmmaker. Essentially directing is acting, right? So if you can really get good at acting, you're going to be a good director. And this teaches you a lot about directing and script breakdown, which is all super important skills to have. Next thing I want to say is making a 120-page screenplay. This basically trains you for the next level, right? Which is feature films. And I think some ways you can go about this is write 3 pages a day, and you don't have to grind so hard, and maybe even 10 pages a day. You can finish that in 2 weeks. That's what I did this summer, and I wrote 2 feature screenplays, and it was so much fun. You get to explore so many different aspects of your world, and just don't take it as something painful. Just think of it as something really fun. You get to explore this whole world of characters, and I think it's potentially easier than shorts because the structure is all there. You can just follow the outline, and you can make a really good feature film script. Really practices a lot of your storytelling abilities and also your creativity. I think it challenges your mind to come up with so many new and interesting ideas. Next thing is making a musical short film. So I think this is one of the things, just maximum input equals maximum output. Like, you put a lot into it and it comes out like people are gonna be blown away by what you do. So I mean, this thing literally trains every aspect of filmmaking. It teaches you like music writing and how to write a script to that. It teaches you choreography, it teaches you editing, and it teaches you producing and directing and just every aspect of filmmaking. If you can make a musical short film, it challenges you a lot, but it makes you such a better filmmaker. And if you guys want to know how I was able to direct my first musical short film and all the stuff I had to go through, just check out this video right here and I'll see you there.